What's going on? It's your man Julian from the Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast back again.
Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast, yeah.
We're here. Well, I am. For those of you that don't know, James and Brandon on the East Coast, and I'm on the West Coast, so sometimes it's difficult scheduling to get it all together, but I'm coming at you this week. I am going to come at you, bring you the 10 mistakes to avoid this fantasy freaking football season. For those of you that are new to the channel, please subscribe, like below, leave a comment, let us know if something you want us to cover. We'll make sure we'll touch on it. With that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. Hit you guys with the hard-hitting stuff. Number 10. This is specifically for online drafts. Not using your queue. Got to use your queue if it's an online draft. It's way too easy to, wherever you're drafting from, get distracted or not realize it's your turn. The kids are calling. You got to use the bathroom. You go something to eat or drink. Use your queue. And the list of players goes so deep, you might not know. You only maybe will see top 6 players. You might not realize who's still available. And the people you want are below that. Though those 6 that the experts say you should take. So make sure you utilize the queue. Load up all the players you're interested in and put them in the correct order that you'd want to take them. All right, that's number 10. Number 9. Waiting on your guy. Now this one and number 4 that I'll touch on are a bit contradictory, but hear me out on this. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. So if you have a certain person you want on your team, you're a hardcore Packers fan, like, I want Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to win with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to build the sickest team, but I need it just so I have my guy. I want to have Aaron Rodgers. Get him. And I don't mean reach like crazy. If you say Aaron Rodgers is a 6th round pick this year, say you pick early in the 5th, so you had maybe one of the first 4 picks overall. So you pick it early in the 5th. You think he probably won't be available next time I come around to me in the 6th. So you reach around early. Now, it's never good to reach. But with that being said, if there's somebody you don't want to leave your draft without, and you are going to be disappointed and upset with your whole team because you didn't get your guy, because you were doing what you thought was the right thing and waited for their draft position, like, that's overvaluing them a little bit if I take them too early. Don't worry about it. This is your team. You are the manager. Take your guy. If you're a Chargers fan and you say, I got to have Austin Eckler, but you have the 5th pick, we know he's not a top 5 guy. He's a first rounder. Just take him there. So if I'm a Browns fan. James is a Browns fan. James has a number 4, number 5 pick. I bet you he takes Nick Chubb. So take your guy. If there's somebody you are set on and they're not going to be, and you know they won't be there for your next pick, take your guy. All right. Number 8. Caring too much about bye weeks. Who the heck cares? It doesn't matter. Don't worry about bye weeks. Oh, I have 2 people on bye week the same week. Do not put any of your time into the bye weeks. It is not worth your attention. It's not worth your time. You're going to draft a team that's good enough to pick up the slack when players are on buys. You're going to pick up some studs off of free agency. You may make a trade here and there. Don't worry about bye weeks. If you're lucky, all your studs are on bye the same week and you lose 1 game the whole year because of bye weeks. You lose 1 game all year, you're sitting number 1 going to the playoffs. That's fantastic. Do not worry about bye weeks. It is not worth your time. It's not worth you passing up somebody great because you already have 3 good players that have the same bye week. Don't worry about it. Number 7. Reaching for the next tier of player so you don't miss out. Now, what I mean by this is, say you wanted one of the top tight ends. We know Travis Kelce is tier by himself. He's number one. The next tier is Darren Waller and George Kittle. Either order, whichever way you say Kittle, Waller, Waller, Kittle, either way. Well, then it's a following tier. But Waller and Kittle are looking end of the second, early third is where their ADPs are. The tier of Andrews, Hawkinson, and Pitts is late fifth, early sixth, around there. So wait on them. At least until the fifth. If you get to the third round and you think, okay, I'm going running back, wide receiver, tight end, and you want to try to get one of those top tight ends, and your third round pick comes around, and all three of those guys of Kelce, Waller, and Kittle are gone, do not reach for a tight end at that point. Just don't. Because I am 99% sure that one of those next tier guys of those three will not only be available in your fourth round pick, but most likely all be there in your fifth round pick as well. Don't reach for the next tier when the tier you're hoping to get is gone. Do not reach for that. Wait and let it come to you. All right, number 6. Overindulging at the draft or pre-draft. Maybe one of those people that, I'm going to show up to the draft drunk. Or your draft has a bunch of drinking games. Or maybe whatever. Maybe you're in a state where marijuana is legal and you come a little stoned. Or you're doing smoking games or whatever it is. Or you're eating everything and then you gave yourself a dang stomach ache. You ate cake and chicken wings and pizza and feel like garbage. Don't be that guy. Or gal. Sorry if that came off sexist. Don't be that individual. Enjoy your time. If you drink, have a few drinks during the draft. But understand, hey, after about 4, sometimes my judgment gets a little poor. Limit yourself for the whole draft to 4 drinks. Maybe your number's lower, maybe your number's higher. That's just an example. If you want to eat so you're not hungry, have 2 slices of pizza. And if there's sweets, maybe a cookie. Don't overindulge. Because you know what? When the draft is over, a lot of those drinks are still going to be there. A lot of that food is still going to be there. A lot of that whatever you like is still going to be there. And if it's not, you can Uber Eats or DoorDash or just find a way to get it. Or you can take a cab, Uber, Lyft to a bar and go enjoy it. Don't get to the point where your judgment is impaired because you went too far during the draft. Stay cool, calm, and collected, level-headed, and don't let these joys get to you. Don't let them impair the judgment. The draft is all up here. It's all your preparation up here. Don't all that hard work you've been doing, listening to the podcast, watching us on here, reading articles, or watching Matthew Berry on ESPN. Don't let all of that hard work go down the poop chute because you drank too much or something like that. All right, number 5. Letting your league mates get into your head. Do not let your league mates get in your head. If you got people in your league like James, they're going to tell you that every pick you make is bad, how it's stupid, how you're stupid, you're bad at this, you don't know what you're doing. They're going to ask you if you even prepared. They ask you if you know what you're doing. They're going to ask you if you even know the rules. They're going to tell you you drank too much. They're going to tell everybody there that you don't know what you're doing. They're going to tell everybody there that you drank too much. They're going to tell everybody there that you're a homer. They're going to just try everything they can to get into your head. Do not allow it. It's part of the fun for a lot of, if you have a group of alphas get together, talking smack. It's part of the fun. We all just try to mess with each other. But don't let it actually get to you. You came in there with a plan. You came in there with preparation. Know that you know what you're doing and be confident in that. Don't let anything or anybody shake your confidence, especially those turds in your league. I'm looking at you, James and Brandon. All right. Number 4. Don't be stuck on players. Instead, focus on tiers. So don't focus on certain players, with the exception of, like I said, this number 4 and number 9 are a bit contradictory. And I understand that. If you have a guy, I usually tell people, if you have a guy you really like, get your guy. Now, don't do this for many people. That's a singular thing. Throughout the draft, though, there are tiers of players. Do not focus on a single player. I'll use the tight ends again. Don't say, I need Waller. I need Darren Waller, tight end, Las Vegas Raiders. No. If you want that tier, you want either Waller or Kittle. If Waller goes right before your pick, take Kittle, because that is the same tier of player. If you want Hawkinson, TJ Hawkinson, tight end, Detroit Lions, and he goes, but Andrews or Kyle Pitts are still there, take Mark Andrews or take Kyle Pitts. Now you decide amongst yourselves in those tiers who you like more. But those are tiers of players. There's no real argument. Is Kyle Pitts ranked? Should be Kyle Pitts ranked higher, or Mark Andrews, or TJ Hawkinson? In my opinion, Kyle Pitts is the rookie, so he thinks he needs to prove it a little more. So I put the other two ahead of him. But if you took Kyle Pitts before those two, I was going to get that upset about it. That's a tier of players. If you, I don't know, you're a Bears fan, you want Allen Robinson, or say you want David Montgomery. David Montgomery goes, but the tier of running backs he's around are still there. You've still got J.K. Dobbins, Darrell Henderson, Chris Carson, Miles Sanders, who I'm not a fan of this year at all, but there's a tier of players there. Don't focus on that one player. Now, if David Montgomery is your one guy this year, get him. But don't say I want Allen Robinson and David Montgomery. Allen Robinson is that wide receiver 9-ish, 10-ish. If you don't get him, get wide receiver 10 or 11 or 12. Justin Jefferson will probably be there. Robert Woods will still probably be there. Keenan Allen, maybe. Keenan Allen should probably be taken right before, but Keenan Allen may still be on the board. Take the tier. Focus on the tiers. Understand the tiers of players, not the specific players. Now, there are some players who are in a tier of their own. Very few. Kelsey, tier of his own. I think Patrick Mahomes is the bona fide number 1, but there's a tier. Josh Allen, very, very close. Josh Allen was QB1 last year. Understand the tiers. It's a lot more important than the specific players. All right, number 3. Not staying up to date in the news. Things change every single day. Right now, I'm shooting this on a Thursday night, Thursday, August 19th. There was a preseason game with the Patriots. That is one to watch for us fantasy owners, us fantasy managers. Because if Mac Jones wins the starting role, Damian Harris, value goes up. Jacoby Myers, value goes up. Anybody who's worth anything on that offense, value goes up. Tight ends. Cam Newton doesn't throw very many touchdowns. Kind of takes the ball and runs with it inside the 5, maybe inside the 10 even, but inside the 5, your running back isn't getting much. Mac Jones is going to be way better for that team, I think, in real life, but especially in fantasy. So it's something to watch. Cam Newton threw a touchdown tonight. These are things to watch. So stay up to date in the news. It was earlier this week. Chase Claypool got hurt his ankle at practice. And Chase Claypool is a breakout star this year. Possible breakout star. The second year, the man looked great last year. Possible breakout for next season. Or for this season, excuse me. And you got to watch his health. He already got a little banged up in that first preseason game. He got hurt in practice. Pay attention. Cam Akers went down. Carson Wentz, if his value goes up, Jonathan Taylor's value goes up, because with Carson Wentz out, they got nobody at quarterback. They're just going to stack the box against Jonathan Taylor. Pay attention to the offseason news. Stay up to date with injuries and news and all of these things happening. I know I like David Montgomery and Allen Robinson even more. And Justin Fields is thrown to him as opposed to Andy Dalton. Stay up to date on the news. Number 2. The number 2 mistake to avoid is not sticking to your plan. Flexibility is needed, of course, but not sticking to your plan is the worst thing you can do. If you want, hey, I want to get, like I said earlier, maybe you want to have a running back, a stud running back in the first, a top wide receiver in the second, and a top tight end in the third. Or in the top 3 rounds, you want to have those 3. Now you can see how the draft comes to you. Maybe you pick 4th. And you get Derrick Henry at 4. Then it comes back around. Well, Kelsey went shortly thereafter your pick. 2 picks before you, Kittle goes. We'll take Waller now. You flex a little bit there. But your plan was to come out of those top 3. So then what comes around to you, A.J. Brown on the board for your next pick. So it still worked out for you. Justin Jefferson. These are wide receiver 1s. Still on the board. Allen Robinson. You can still get a top tier guy. Not in that top 5, but top 10 for sure. Make sure you're sticking to your plan. Don't let all these outside influences that have gone over already get to what you said. Or get you away from what you said you wanted to do. You have to focus on all these things, come up to the draft with your plan, and don't let anything mess with that. You have a plan. You want to walk away from the first 8 rounds with 4 running backs. Now, these are just examples. It's not me telling you that you want that, but that's your plan. You want 4 running backs in the top 8 rounds because you think that's where there aren't any running backs of real value after that, you believe. So you want to go running back, then maybe wide receiver, then maybe running back again. In round 4, maybe running back again. So now you have 3. Then you go tight end. Then you go wide receiver. Then maybe go wide receiver. But then that round 7 comes, like, all right, well, I wanted running back the next 2. Who's available? Travis Etienne. Okay, I can do that as my number 4 back. Yes. If you're in a league that plays two running backs and a flex, typically the flex you want to have a good running back, unless you're just stacked at wide receiver. I always like playing 3 running backs. In my running back 1, my running back 2, and my flex, I like playing a running back, which means I really want at least 4 good running backs because they get hurt. The most injury-prone position in fantasy football is running back. You need to have this knowledge. You need to understand that. The number 1 mistake people can make for the fantasy football drafts, the 2021 draft, is not coming prepared. I'm sure everybody saw that one coming. No surprises here. I'm giving you guys the facts and nothing but the facts. So, worst mistake you can make is just not coming prepared. You're doing all of this. If you are listening to me and you listen this far, 19 minutes in, and you give a dang about your draft, you give a dang about beating your opponents, whether it's friends, family, coworkers, random strangers, anything. Do not let yourself not come prepared. Along with that, so you do all your preparation. Bring your preparation to the draft if it's a live draft. I've seen people do the preparation. I've talked to them a month in advance. They're like, oh, I'm doing mock drafts. I have all my notes. I made an Excel sheet. These are all great things to do, by the way. Do those if you really want to win. And then they show up to the draft and they left their Excel sheet. They left whatever it is that they had, their pen and paper. Or they put it on a website. They thought I could just look at this website And it turns out they went somewhere where the cell phone reception wasn't very great. Couldn't really access it. And the guy who's hosting it, who lives out in the middle of nowhere, isn't given his Wi-Fi password. I've seen this happen. It's called a home field advantage. These things happen. Come prepared. Do not let anything affect your preparation to win your draft. Now, winning the draft doesn't mean that you won the league. But it starts with winning the draft. Picking your studs today at your draft. Now, remember, any of these players can get hurt. First, second round, all these picks can get hurt. Waiver wire beauties, waiver wire sleeping beauties are out there. Make sure you're on top of that. Stay up to date at all times, like number 2. And do not let yourself show up unprepared. So quick recap. Number 10, not using the queue if it's an online draft. Number 9, waiting on your guy. If you have that one guy, get your guy. Don't wait on him because he probably won't be available if you try to take him right when he's supposed to go. Number 8, caring too much about bye weeks. Do not put any concern into bye weeks. Number 7, reaching for that following tier way too early just because you missed out on the tier before. Do not reach to the following tier when that following tier isn't supposed to go for 2 or 3 rounds. Number 6, overindulging. Do not overindulge in anything before or during the draft. Keep your mind clear. Have fun, but keep your mind clear and focus on what you're doing. Number 5, letting league mates get into your head. It's a temple, baby. Protect it. Nobody's getting in here but me. Don't let anybody get in your head. You know what you're doing. You showed up prepared. You're going to kill it. Number 4, being stuck on players instead of the tiers of players. Focus on that tier of player if that's what you want. Don't be focused on a certain player. For example, if you think Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers are all a tier, they're all pretty close, and you want that, you think there's a drop-off there, get somebody from there. Don't just say, I need Justin Herbert. Take anybody in, or Dak Prescott. Take that little tier of players. Number 3, not staying up to date in the news. Things are changing every single day. Players get hurt every day. Players get replaced every day. Players get cut every day. Maybe the guy you're worried about taking the job for your top running back, maybe he gets cut. Like, wow, there's no competition now for my guy. Heck yes. I feel good. I feel more confident about my player that I wanted, that I have an eye on. I'm definitely putting that guy in my queue now. Number 2, not sticking to your plan. Do not veer from the plan. You showed up with the plan of the day. Execute. Number one biggest mistake you can make in your 2021 fantasy football draft is not coming prepared. That's been another issue. Another beautiful session on the Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast. I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe, like, comment below.
Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast, yeah.